So this is a video about wanting it too badly. And what I'm about to share with you in this video, this principle, this understanding, if you like, is equally applicable to life. You know, to how you show up, how you engage with the world, how you engage with other people in effective and influential ways, not just doing hypnosis. But the story I'm going to tell you relates to a small occurrence on the last Hypnosis Skills Boot Camp. Now, there was a guy who was in attendance there, a young guy who was really keen to learn hypnosis, to learn to do hypnosis really well. And this is something I commend him on, because having that desire, that passion, that heart for it is an important thing. It's the most important thing in becoming effective as a hypnotist. But he had this kind of flip side thing going on where he really wanted to get results really, really badly. And it would come across, it would scream out in his manner and his non-verbals. So there was one point I was looking across the room and he was working with somebody and they were doing a foot stick. And I could see him and I could hear him. I could see him before I could hear him, you know, and I could see the energy in his body. I could see what was being expressed non-verbally. And as I stepped in and walked closer, I could hear him layering suggestion upon suggestion upon suggestion, like the more suggestions the better, just more upon more upon more. That foot, you can feel it sticking and sticking more deeply now as it just continues to glue and lock, and you know, just so many suggestions coming in so thick and fast. And then it got to the point where he said, and you can go ahead, you can try and lift that foot, find it sticks more solidly now, sticking more solidly. And the person he was working with just lifted her foot, you know. And I could see it coming. I could see it in her non-verbals. I could see her sort of looking at the foot, glancing up at him, thinking, what's going on here? So I went over to the pair of them and I looked at him and I put my hand on his shoulder. And I said, how would it be for you if you were to just look down at your foot now and find it already stuck deeply into the ground now, and got a very simple foot stick. Now, what I wanted to demonstrate was a difference in energy. I'm aware that I'm the teacher of the class, and that gives me some extra leverage and stuff like that. But there wasn't a need for all that suggestion. There wasn't a need for all that trying hard to get the result. In fact, the harder he was trying to get the result, the more he was non-verbally undermining it. Because the message that was being sub-communicated is, I don't really believe this is going to happen. I don't really believe it, so I'm going to try extra hard to make it happen. So the harder he was trying to make it happen, it's the old law of reversed effect, or law of reversed effort, if you like. The harder he was trying to make it happen, the less it was going to happen. Why? Because his energy was an energy of neediness, an energy of desperation, an energy of this must happen, which leaves the person wondering, why is this person trying so hard? You know, what's going on here? What I wanted to show him was that by coming up and just being totally present, totally unattached to the outcome, and just being present in the moment, connecting with the person and directing their attention towards an interesting possibility, and then holding the space with that possibility, that's a much more effective way of leading somebody, whether it's in hypnosis or whether it's in an influential communication situation in life. It's a much more effective way of leading somebody into an interesting place, into the place you would like them to be. Now, an old mentor of mine, Steve Chandler, he used to say, needy is creepy. Needy is creepy. This was the way that he would put it. The more needy you are about something, the more you need an outcome, the weirder and the more creepy it is for the other person. Okay. Now he was talking about when you're selling, really. You know, when you're engaging, perhaps creating client relationships as a coach. Being needy about it is creepy. If you need the client, it's the same when you're doing change work. If you need the outcome, and it's called outcome attachment. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a clear outcome in mind. In fact, that's an important thing. It's important to set your intent. But when your sense of self is somehow attached to that outcome, well, a desperation kind of creeps in. I've got to get this hypnosis thing to happen, because if it doesn't happen, then that means something about me as a person. It means I'm somehow not good enough, right? Then the ego becomes attached. It becomes an egoic attachment. So you don't just have a clear outcome that you can organize yourself around and your communications around in a centered way. You have this outcome which is bending you out of shape because your sense of self is reliant upon it somehow. And this is the kind of attachment I'm talking about. This is the kind of wanting it too badly that I'm talking about. So one of the things that I find myself recommending over and over and over again, not just to people who want to be effective hypnotists, but people who want to be effective influential communicators across the board, is to let go of outcome. Let go of any need for things to come out in a particular way. I love a quote from David Data. David Data is either, I always say this, he's either a complete nutcase or a complete genius, or maybe both at the same time. But David Data said, life is just the correction of one mistake into the next. So if you know that, if you can be present with your choices and be present with your communications and be present with what you want and be present with leading people in powerful ways, well, you may or may not get that outcome. But if you can stay in a place of aliveness and curiosity and go, I wonder what happens if, and then whatever you do get, still retain that aliveness and curiosity, still retain your grounding, your centeredness, so you can make the next choice. Well, that's the way you get to flow with the dynamic unfolding of life, the universe and everything, you know, which is what you need to do to be a powerful communicator. Be in the moment and flow. It's a game of responses. If you're all bent out of shape because you need something so badly and it's an absolute disaster, you may only be processing this unconsciously, it's an absolute disaster if you don't get it. You're not grounded anymore. You don't have any real power or presence anymore. It all gets eroded away and swept away. So look out in life, not just in hypnosis when you're doing hypnosis, but look out in life for where you're wanting something too badly. Whether you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is a disaster if I don't get this, or you think it's a threat to your sense of self if you don't get it. Look out for those places because there's some internal work to do for you there. Okay, some exploration around letting go, becoming more present, deepening your grounding. And that way you'll become a far more powerful hypnotist, if hypnosis is your thing, or generally speaking, a far more powerful human being, an influential communicator. Okay, so as you're watching this, check out below because as I'm making this video, there are only 2 places left on the final Hypnosis Skills Bootcamp for 2015. If you want to get on that, as I'm making this video, there is still a little over 24 hours to get the £122 off discount. So 2 more people have the opportunity to get those places for £122 off. As I'm saying this, I've completely forgotten the actual dates, but they will be informed below and there will be a link that you can get through. Okay, so have a fantastic time. If anyone watching this video is going to be at Change Phenomena tomorrow, which will be today if you see this video in the morning, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Take care.